Alrighty-o. Good afternoon. How is everyone doing? Just going to pull you guys up on my computer, as always. If I can find you. Hang on. I have to type. All right. How's everyone doing? Hello, Lori. It is absolutely gorgeous here. I have not even been outside yet, so I'm going to go do that a little bit after this live. Because it looks beautiful. I think it's supposed to get up to like 16 degrees here. Let me see. What does my weather app say? It is 14 right now, on its way to 16 here in Calgary. Nice to see you, Lori. All right. So I thought we'd play around a little bit, just a little bit, teeny tiny bit, with some of these new Irresistible rub-ons from Vicki Boutin. Let me just move this. I don't need that. So we'll take a look here at the new sets. I think in her last line she had two different rub-ons packages. This one has 3. So I thought I'd kind of show you really quickly what these guys look like. So if you haven't seen them, and 49 in Market does fantastic rub-ons. So these are white rub-ons. So it's kind of hard to see them in the, in the plastic packaging. So I'll just kind of show you the paper packaging. Oh, yay. Oh, it's rainy there. Sorry that it's rainy, but that's probably a good thing. So this one is what is this called? Artful Edges. So you can see there's a lot of border strips. We're going to kind of play around with one of these border strips in a little bit. That's the one package. So it has 3 sheets of rub-ons, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on the kind of rub-on it is. I mean, there's probably over 20 different kinds. That is the Artful Edges. Then we have the Artful Words rub-on transfers. And these are beautiful too. And you can see here lots of different, we've got these super large words you could use for building a title. Then we've got some smaller segments of words, and then some others that you can use as kind of a header on your page, a nice layering spot. So super fun. And after I show you kind of the 3 different packages, then we'll kind of take a look at how you would use these. And then we have the Artful Layers. I'll just show you if I can find that package. I actually cut one of these guys out yesterday. Okay, there we go. This one's really pretty. So the layers, we've got lots of kind of coffee cup mark, watermark, butterflies, leaves, all sorts of really pretty segments. Hi, Jenny. So, lots of gorgeous things. Hello, Tamara. Nice to see you. Now, I was kind of perusing a Friday Night Live of Vicki's. So she does have a video that she did about a month ago. And she went through, built a beautiful layout using these Irresistible rub-ons. And then really the entire Artful Moments line has a large number of Irresistibles. So it's white chipboard, there's chipboard frames, there's words, I think there's embellishments as well, and those you can color, so add color to, and then the resist, so the white printed areas resist the color. So I'll kind of show you what I mean by that let's use one of the guys out of here. I think I want to use, we're going to do this I'm going to use this little tab part here. So easiest way is I cut through the paper and then the kind of the acetate sheet that the rub-ons sit on. I just keep those two layers together. If you've used 49 in Market rub-ons, you know that once you get these guys down, they stay exactly where you put them. So you don't really want to try to, I mean, I wouldn't, just because I know how I am. I wouldn't peel this off until I've cut through both layers and decided where I'm going to put this on my page, because otherwise I know I would end up sticking it somewhere that I don't want it to be. Or if it, you know, it accidentally gets stuck to your paper, and then you are stuck with it in the position that it's in. Okay, so I'm not going to put this at the tippity top. I'm going to put it just down a little bit. Okay, and if you have a, these ones do not come with any popsicle sticks, but you can use a popsicle stick. I actually have this old, I don't know if anybody has this, it's this old rub-on tool from Basic Grey. Hello, Irene. Oh, yay. I'm glad you can see and comment. But I'm just going to take out this TJX rewards card and apply this rub-on with it. So just to show you, you know, you don't need a special tool. You know, if you don't have any popsicle sticks, I've seen people use even the back of their scissors. These aren't quite as slidey. You have to have something like these guys, which that glides across the paper really nicely. Awesome. Okay, and then I'm just going to lift that. So there's a few areas that are not quite sticking down. But you know what? If for some reason some of your rub-ons do not transfer, as long as it's not a whole entire section, don't worry about it. Because these are kind of designed to look a little distressed, let's say. All right, and I'm just going to run my finger over top of that. There we go. All right, so it doesn't look like much, kind of hard to see. You have that tool somewhere, Irene? Right on. Well, I would also say don't press too hard with this, because then it kind of presses into the paper. So if you're not kind of even in your application, and I apologize that light might have just changed in here because the there's clouds moving across the sky there. Okay. So now for the fun part, let's put some color down so you can kind of take a look at what that looks like. I know you might be thinking, Rosie, you're going to have this blob of color in the middle of nowhere. Don't worry, I will make it all work together. So I'm just using some metallic ink from Lisa Horton. So really any dye ink is going to work. We might even add some green over top of that. I kind of want to have a bit of a bright spot here, because this is eventually going to turn into a layout. You know, I kind of plan to kind of take my yellow and flow it down through this page. Okay. So you can see as we add the color, that starts to, you really start to see the white. I know I'm getting some color down here, no worries. Okay. So eventually I'll kind of flow this down here, probably add some stenciling, but I just wanted you to get a look at the rub-ons. So I'm going to give that a moment. Just let that dry a little. Ooh, scoring tool. Great idea, Irene. That'd be perfect for putting rub-ons on. Okay, and now I'm just taking my cloth here and just going over the top of that rub-on. So it just pulls a little the ink off so it doesn't settle on top there. Now you can see, look how pretty that is. So then I can go through here and pull off, I think we'll go to the Artful Borders, and we'll grab one of the borders that I'm going to put down along here, if I can find it. Now I've mixed them all up. Little border, where are you? Oh, there you are. It's because I cut into it before. So I think, let's see, might want to use a different one. This one has some really fun stitching as well. I've kind of started, you'll see this here when I put this together, but I took the color wheel paper and I've kind of cut that up and scored it. So we're going to incorporate this in here somehow. It's probably going to be something I show you after, but I also think what would be fun. Actually, let's do this just for fun right now. I love these little stitching lines. So let's take this zigzag one, and I'm just going to cut it to the length of this guy, roughly. And then we're going to apply it on here. All right, so we're going to add this right down the middle. All right. What I'll roughly call the middle. There we go. I'm going to grab my scoring tool because I like that idea, your idea, Irene, so I'm going to give that a try. I'm going to add that to this pattern paper. That works really well. Oh, missed a spot, so we'll just lay that back down and make sure we get that spot down. So look at that. Now it gives me my faux stitching on this pattern paper. So really cool. I missed a little piece there, but I don't mind that. We'll just pretend my sewing machine skipped a stitch. So as I'm building this layout, then I can go in and use those rub-ons all along there. Okay. So just to kind of give you an idea how those are going to work. So you can see too on these longer border lines or stitching lines, they're all full length 12-inch strips, so work perfectly for scrapbooking. Or you can cut them down for cards or your art journals. Okay. But that's a quick look at what that looks like. And I think we'll move on to taking a look at what this looks like on black paper. Like I said, Vicki has a really great video using all these, but I just wanted to show you that we've got all the three types of transfers from the 49 in Market Vicki Boutin Artful Layers line. We've got those all in stock, so you can check those out in the store. But we're going to take a look here as well at what these look like on black cardstock, because I think they're really cool. You'll be able to see them really well on the black. And so I thought, why not play around with a stencil, because then we can try this a couple of different ways. I've pulled out the Spellbinders Tulips and Daffodils. It's a press and foil plate and stencil bundle, and so I pulled out the stencil. I thought we could kind of play around with these rub-ons in the stencil. So what I was thinking we'd do is I'm going to just trim this off, and I'm going to place a rub-on inside each of these areas. It won't be perfect. We're not looking for perfection, but and then we'll go ahead and add the ink on top. So I'm going to use this little tool because it's going to, so let's say you had stenciled your florals and then went over top and stamped through your stencil, let's say with white ink to add a little bit of texture. That's kind of what we're doing here. Okay, so then I'll just, I'm not going to worry too much. Once I lift off the stencil, then those little bits of rub-ons on the side will come off on the edge. Okay, so maybe we'll use what's left over from this little piece. And I don't mind if it doesn't really look like anything. What we're trying to do is just kind of add some texture, maybe use these in a little bit of a out-of-the-box way. Okay. Then I'll just trim off another little piece. And so we're just going to do, I think, these particular blooms, which would be the daffodils. And I think I showed you a sample of the cards last week, but I can bring them in here and show them to you again. All right. So now we'll add a little bit here. Because maybe you love this line, but you're more of a card maker as opposed to a scrapbooker. Or you like to do both, so might as well show you a couple of different ways to use that same product. Okay, so because this is a layering stencil, then we're going to apply, that's our first layer, and I'm going to use the metallic ink again. And grab my tool. All right. And I'm going to add quite a bit of ink. It might be tough to see the metallic on camera. And with this metallic ink, as it dries, the color intensifies. So initially on our black cardstock, you might not see it all that great. But I'm also putting a lot of ink on here. Okay, and so you can see my little rub-ons there don't look white, so I'm going to come back in with a cloth here and just give that a buff. Just to brighten up the rub-on. Okay. And then I'm just going to move some of that ink off the stencil, kind of push it right into pretty. So I'm just going to buff that off again. Okay, so I'll just kind of tilt that there so you can see that metallic ink. Like I said, as it dries, the color will kind of intensify, but I will make sure that I wipe that off, that rub-on. So cool. Okay, so I probably should let this dry, but I'm impatient. I am not going to let it dry. So we're going to move on to stencil 2, which is going to be the other petals on the daffodils and then the tulips. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to trim off, and then I think I'll trim that in half as well. And we're going to add that again, add that rub on to our black cardstock. And maybe what I'll do is after I get, well, actually that won't help. I was going to say after I get this piece down, I can pull it off and show you what it looks like, because this is just a teeny tiny petal. I'm just going to do a portion there. And same thing here. That's just kind of a portion. Because we're basically adding a little texture for interest. Awesome. I know it kind of looks like a hot mess, but trust me. Once we've got the ink all added, it's going to look fabulous. Okay, except I can't get this off. There we go. So we're going to put that bigger, fill in that larger petal. And this will fit here perfectly. Just go down like that. There we go. And then we'll do, maybe we'll do the tulip too. Why not? So with this stencil, it has a, you would more than likely normally use it with your press plate or foil it. I'll show you what that looks like, but you can use the stencil on its own as well. It just gives you a bit of a different look, more of a loose type of coloring. But it's just kind of fun to play around and see what other types of things you can do with your stencils, or even like this, your rub-ons. Okay, so I just need a little smidgy right from here. So Carnival is coming up. It's like, I think Sandy said yesterday, 3 weeks away. I'm like, ah! That seems very, very near. And I have projects to prepare. That's why I'm like, ah! Okay, I think I'm just going to grab maybe a bit of a different blending brush here, because some of these areas are quite a bit smaller. I'm actually going to set that right up there, because then it won't move on my stamp wheel or my stencil mat. All right. But it's coming up. If you're considering coming, I believe there's still cropping spots available. And of course, there will be a marketplace. So lots of shopping. I think the shopping passes are $5. So if you do come to Carnival, if you haven't been before, drop by our booth, come and say hi. We're literally the first booth on your right when you come into the crop. So easy peasy to find. Okay. So just getting that ink down. All right. I like to go quite heavy-handed with the metallic ink. All right. So you can see it. Ooh, oh shoot. I meant to do the tulip, not yellow. So look at that. I know, Lori, we're gonna miss you too. Unfortunately, we can't make Edmonton this year. Okay, so I actually didn't want the tulip to be yellow. So he's gonna be a completely new color because I'm just gonna go and add the color right over top of the yellow that I wanted it to be. But, so I'm just gonna give that a little wipe and grab a Post-it note. Our friendly masking, just to make sure I don't get any of that other color. Okay, so I'm using Love Struck, which is kind of a purpley pink. And I'm just gonna go right over the top of that yellow because I didn't mean it to be yellow. I got carried away. So we'll see what color this is gonna look like. Okay, it's got kind of purple with the yellow shadow. I was going to call it haze, but all right. So before I forget, we're just going to give that, you can see that resists the ink perfectly. Just go right over. So there, I'll tip that. You can see the color much better when you tip it in the light. These metallic inks are beautiful. I probably should have done this on white because it is a little bit tough to see on the black on camera. All right, next layer. Okay, we're getting there. So I'm going to trim this down again. I'm going to call these graffiti blooms, or graffiti texture. That's what we're giving these blooms. All right. Add our rub-ons. This is kind of fun. This might actually be really cool if you had a large or a stencil with some large open areas. Does that make sense? So like if you had a large floral, I'll have to look. I might have something in my stash now that I think about it that I can try this out on. So I think that'd be really cool when you've got some larger open areas, or you could add this through if you've got a 12 by 12 stencil, like a large one that again has some large open areas in it. You could totally do this, kind of add like a double texture as well. And maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this back here. There we go. And that fits in that one I want to use there. Then I can use that other half. Oh, perfect. That worked great. Now I can use this other piece on the sleeve. All right. I may have to do this again, but with on white cardstock as well. Let's see what kind of look we get. All right. And Irene, your scoring tool for applying rub-ons, fantastic idea. I think it's even better than my scoring actual rub-on tool. Okay, now we just a few more places to add our rub-ons. And then I'll clean the stencil after. I usually clean them with rubbing alcohol, so I don't foresee having any issues getting the rub-ons off the stencil either, so I think it should be okay. But I will report back if it is a problem or not. Okay, a couple more areas. So I'm just kind of trimming this here just to kind of fit that into that little spot, just to make it easier to fit it right through. Awesome. All right, we're getting there. Now we've got these two spots are a little bit narrow, so I'm just going to fold my paper back like that, or the release sheet, and then lay this down here. Get that bit in there, that bit in there. Beautiful. And then I might just add those little bits from the other side onto here. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to start with the tulip, which is this one at the top in the Love Struck. And we're going to go. So the tulip is probably going to look like two different colors. Oh, and I forgot to add my mask. Whoopsies. The edge of this daffodil is going to be a little bit, it's going to be pinky yellow. All right. Okay, then I will just cover that top part up. It's always fun just playing around with your products. I just have a few little, looks like little bits of rub-on maybe stuck in my ink. I'll have to go back through after and clean that up. All right. So the interference inks would work really well with this technique as well. They show up really lovely on black or a dark cardstock. All right. Let's just lift that off a little. Take a little boo. Ooh, so unique. Look at this. It looks like a very kind of modern art with the with those rub-ons as the adding the texture. Okay, so let me take my cloth here again, and I'm just buffing off the white areas, because you can see the difference between here's where I've buffed it off and here I have not buffed off the color yet, so that the rub-ons stand out. But they work great on black cardstock. Okay. And so now I'm going to add the leaves, but I'm going to leave the leaves plain and the stems. I'm not going to add any rub-ons to those, because I think we have plenty of rub-ons on the blooms, and so I don't want those to get lost. But I'm just going to grab, I have a green, but I'm going to grab a little lighter of a green. 1 second. Because I think the one I have is a little bit dark. We're going to do this one, which is actually the Color Shift ink. So we're going to do this avocado gold. This is what it's going to look like on the black cardstock. So I think I prefer that to, well, let's see. We could maybe layer them a little bit. This is the green I was going to use. Let's give it a try and see what it looks like before I decide not to. I can always go right back over it with the avocado gold to lighten it up. So it's kind of like a tealy green. All right. So super easy set to use this one. Again, it's the Tulips and Daffodils by Janis Makula for Spellbinders. And if that's not in the shop yet, it will be. I do know it was on order the last time I looked. Okay, so let's see if we want, oh, pretty. Look at that. I think we'll leave that color. See, as that dries, then you'll really see the color and the shine come through. Awesome. Okay, one last layer, friends. Okay. Our last layer, and again, we're using the Verdigris. Maybe I'll pop that up here so you can see what I'm using. Okay, and then prior to the live, I kind of aligned my cardstock underneath the first stencil and made sure that the stencil was butted into the corner of my stamp wheel. And then that way I just remove the layer, each layer as we finish it, and then add the next layer of the layering stencil. So, and everything lines up. So it makes it easy to keep it in place. Okay. So there we go. Oh, and hello to everyone watching, if I haven't said hello to you yet. All right. Oh, pretty. There we go. And so I'm going to call these our graffiti art tulips and daffodils. And so what I might even do is go back and add maybe something to the flower center there, just to define that a little bit. But once this dries thoroughly, then that color will be a little bit more obvious. But love that. So again, I use the rub-ons from the Artful from the Irresistible rub-on transfers. Let me find the piece that doesn't have the packaging on it, because it makes it so difficult to see what it is. I just want to show you which one we used. We used this guy. All right. And so this is the rub-on transfer strip that I used. Okay, and just so you can see what this looks like, if you're wanting to work on dark cardstock, you're not going to be adding color. These rub-on transfers are beautiful because they show up really nicely on the black cardstock and the dark cardstock. Okay, and then I'll just show you a few other examples of just stenciling with this stencil alone. Again, it actually is a bundle that includes the press plate and foil plate and then the stencil, but here's just a few projects I worked on the weekend just using the stencil by itself. So, super beautiful. And then this is on colored cardstock. So really fun. And I'm just going to grab you the card. Let's see. Here's what it looks like with the press plate. it adds all those little details. So beautiful. It should be in the shop soon if it's not there yet. And then as well with the press plates, you can also foil with them. And here's the card using that tulips and daffodils. All right. So hopefully you're inspired to play around with these rub-ons if you've picked them up already. Thanks, Jenny. I'm going to finish playing with that layout that I kind of started. Adding a few more rub-ons in that, and yeah, just so you can kind of see what the final example looks like. I know foiling is so awesome. Yeah, so I'll post the finished card. I'll finish this off with a sentiment added in the group, or in the, on the Facebook page, as well as the layout. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Super fun. And I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I need to tell you. I think there might be some pickup specials in the store. Just maybe check that out. I can't quite remember. I know Sandy had a few. She was live yesterday, so that video is still on Facebook. So if you want to see what she had a few deals on. So if you want to check those out, just pop in and check out that video. It's not terribly long. It's maybe 15 minutes, I think. And you can see what she has on special. All right. You're welcome, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Have a wonderful Thursday. And yeah, I guess tomorrow's the end of the week. So have a great weekend, guys. Take care. Bye.